There's been a complaint that people have been disrupting the hunt, stopping them from going about their lawful activities. And there's also been a complaint that there are substances in the van which may cause criminal damage.
I'm going to take the cans,
yes,
put them in a bag, take them to the police station.
Yeah.
You or your colleagues here can come and collect them later on.
Right.
Okay?
And the reason for?
The reason for that is because I am worried about you upsetting a lawful activity.
We've seen it.
Why are you laughing at me?
After 700 hours of bitter argument, Parliament passed the Hunting Act. Chasing and killing wild animals with dogs was banned.
If it's only a symbolic ban, at least that says something, you know, like all the other things that used to be acceptable, like cockfighting and dog fighting and badger baiting and slavery.
The House of Commons finally dared to outlaw one of the last vestiges of aristocratic privilege.
I sympathise with both sides. I can understand the people who wanted to stop it, but it was a great tradition. It was a very colourful tradition, and to country people often...
40,000 hunters signed a pledge to defy the law, and the countryside went to war. In December 2001, an article in Horse and Hound gave a hunter's view.
A great hunt. We found the fox at 11:15 a.m. and killed him on the riverbank at 3:30 p.m. In that time, they had run 25 miles in 2 huge circles. Never very fast, but remorselessly. It was hound work at its purest and best. They were truly running for blood.
The Sabs and the hunters were on a collision course.
This is what I say, we're keeping them on the run, on the move all the time when they can, and properly. I wasn't expecting us to find them up here. They know we're here, because they got phoned through, they was told we was here. We'll wait and see where they're going to go, and we'll be behind them again.
We've been playing cat and mouse for 5 hours.
Oh, it's our favourite Land Rover.
Manoeuvre and counter-manoeuvre in a game which is repeated weekly all over the country.
With the Land Rover blocked in, the Sabs set off on foot. They believed the hunt had split into 2 groups. Ahead, we found the road blocked by 30 or 40 riders. You got that? You got that? Just watch them. Do you want to go through? Mm-hmm. Do you want me to go through? This was nerve-wracking. Again, I felt a palpable air of aggression.
A document prepared by Power associate Alan Kirby, MSc, shows 246 proven criminal transgressions by hunters and hunt supporters since 1990. 140 of these are violent offences. 108 against Sabs and monitors. The HSA reports that these include attacks on hunt saboteurs with spades, a scythe, a pickaxe handle, and blowing a hole in an occupied minibus with a shotgun.
Excuse me, take that away.
They're obstructing the Land Rover to stop the subgroup getting through, so the other lot have gone on ahead. This party have stayed behind to obstruct the Sabs who stayed with the Land Rover, who are now blocked in back and front.
The Pusey Sabs have had many experiences of violence.
I think the worst time is when somebody's injured and you think, well, if it happens again, who else may get injured or worse?
Could you please get the police here?
Excuse me,
get out of the way.
No, because you're blocking our access.
Get out of the way.
No,
get out of the way.
Nowhere near your space. Video as much as you want, you whore.
It started like any other, arriving at the meet and driving along, and a quad bike was in front of us. He blocked us in on the road. He just kept us there for a while until the hunt moved on. And then after a while he moved off after using his mobile phone. Obviously he was keeping in touch with the hunt as to what we were doing, which is his usual thing. And drove on up a lane up the side of Shelford Woods.
We drove up a bridleway following the hunt. The next thing we knew, there was half a dozen 4x4s parked behind us. The huntsman turned round, so we was blocked in from the top end of the bridleway and the bottom end.
And we were conscious of being in a place where we might not be able to get out of, in front or behind us, because we were followed by 4x4s and there were 4x4s in front.
Two of us got out the Land Rover. The next thing we knew, 15 heavies, all masked up, come out of the wood and the undergrowth and started attacking us. There was one female with us that was using a video camera. One of the hooded masked men made a direct attack on her and thumped her in the back of the head.
Like that? You want to have been caught again, do you?
Maybe something I didn't do last time. This time I don't give a fuck.
We saw an altercation in front of us. Somebody sort of had a whiplash effect. I saw a fist go out, and a friend I had with me got out with a camera.
The next thing I knew, I got thumped in the face from the front by one of the men, and another man from the right-hand side of me hit me again. Then they hit my other friend that was with me.
No, you shouldn't taking pictures now, mate.
I'm quite happy to take pictures, no problem.
My window flew in, whacked me straight on the head.
This is the third time I'm calling. We've called the police 3 times now for emergency assistance.
Were you expecting the police to respond? Because it's a very extreme situation.
We were expecting it, but from previous experience we weren't hopeful of seeing them. So we were extremely worried about our own safety.
What have we done? Done the window?
Yeah. Smashed it.
The brick, I think. Was it a brick?
No, it's an elbow.
Closed, Pusey, Wiltshire. Closed.
Yeah, this is an emergency.
20 minutes later, all the 4x4s pulled away. We backed down the bridleway, phoned the police again. The police come out and said, oh, we did come out earlier, but we couldn't get up the lane because it was all blocked with 4x4s.
The footage was shown to the police, but no action was taken.
The League's Crime Watch desk had pointed us in the direction of another caller. We made our way to a farm in Devon. As we approached, we found horses and 4x4s on every surrounding road.
The caller, Samantha Dunning, moved to Stoodley in 1998. She's a goat farmer, but she soon discovered that goats and hunts don't mix.
They hunt 3 days, Saturday, Monday and Wednesday. And, I mean, you don't know when they're coming in. They, I mean, they could turn up and go straight through, or they could just stay here all afternoon. I can't go out any of those days because I've got to be here. You don't know what they're going to get up to next.
Sam says the hunt is ruining her business.
They keep drying the milking herd off, and they keep making the pregnant ones abort. If they get frightened enough, they just give up and die. But they do it quite slowly. So, of course, the hunt, or, you know, they died a couple of months after they'd been in, but you can do it from the day they come in. They stop eating concentrate first, and then they'll stop eating the haylage, and they just waste away.
And how many have you lost the milk from?
Well, we're milking 30.
Out of 150?
Yeah. And those 30 have got to carry the rest of them, the income from them, which, I mean, they can't do.
The League Against Cruel Sports sent an undercover monitor. This is his second visit.
They hunt the big stags from August through August, September, October, November. Then they go on to hind hunting females. They hunt them through November, December, January, February, and then March and April they go to the young stags and start hunting the young stags. With hind hunting, they just run the dogs at the herd of deer, and they keep running them at them until one breaks off. And then when one breaks off, they'll go after that one, and they'll chase it until it's worn out. And then if the hounds don't get it, then somebody will ride up with a sawn-off shotgun and shoot it.
So why don't they just shoot them then, in the first place?
Well, I mean, it is bizarre because, you know, even in this area, the vast majority of deer get shot by stalkers, but there's no sport in that for the followers.
The monitor's footage clearly shows hounds on Sam's land. She says this is a regular occurrence. They have been to the police twice and have repeatedly complained to the hunt. The hunt says it was not them, or that the dogs went off out of control. The police say there is nothing they can do. Sam has been struggling to survive for 10 years. She has had dismembered parts of deer pinned to her gate. She says the hunt followers regularly taunt her.
So you've asked them not to come?
Yeah. Yeah, we've gone through quite a few times, you know, telling them what they're doing, and they've got a liaison. They've seen him a few times. But it's the set, you know, the dogs have got away.
So as far as you're concerned, you're not safe from them?
Well, no.
Over again?
They just ignore me. Well, I'm on my own. I'm a woman. They're all men, nearly all men. They just think they can do what they want.
Sam reported that after the crew left, a deer was shot only yards from the goats. The shot was heard after the deer stopped screaming as dogs attacked it. She says men were cheering. 1 year after filming, she was forced to sell up and leave.
The hounds are in front. We're being followed by another rider and some vehicles.
So they're plucking us in?
Yeah.
So they've seen us off, basically?
Yeah.
The League sent their footage to the police. The local stag hunt, the Tiverton Staghounds, said it was not their hounds filmed on Sam's property.
This was the most intimidating experience we had faced. Alone, without the support of monitors or SABs, we were surrounded by horse riders and directed out of the area. Four vehicles escorted us back to the main road.
The Sabs had regrouped, but then found themselves surrounded by police cars, summoned by the hunt.
Say we're doing something illegal, like harassing them or something, and obviously they believe the hunt rather than they believe us.
Is it all right if I have a look in the back of your vehicle to see how many seats you've got to start off with?
My heart is thumping. I'm angry, scared and confused. But Mick and the other Sabs are not fazed at all. They're eerily relaxed.
There's been a complaint that people have been disrupting the hunt, stopping them from going about their lawful activities. And there's also been a complaint that there's substances in the van which may cause criminal damage.
But the officer in charge said no action would be taken. The Sabs were free to go. But that wasn't the end of it.
The duty inspector.
Right.
I'm going to take the cans,
yes,
put them in a bag, take them to the police station.
Yeah.
You or your colleagues here can come and collect them later on.
Right.
Okay?
And the reason for...
The reason for that is because I am worried about you upsetting a lawful activity.
We've seen it.
Why are you laughing at me?
It's not lawful. We've seen it. It's an illegal activity. We've seen it.
Well, if you'd like to go and speak to one of my officers, she will take a crime report off you and we'll investigate it.
There was no sign of a consistent pattern they were following, i.e. that they laid a trail or were searching for a trail. They were taking hounds to different areas and avoiding action every time they saw us. They went to considerable trouble to obstruct us, myself and my fellow researcher on foot, by putting their horses in our way. We did absolutely nothing. We didn't speak to them, offer any aggressive action whatsoever. They several times formed parties in the road to stop us passing, in the vehicle and on foot. They would have no reason to do that if they were following illegal activity. Right. So they're going to make a crime report, and it will be passed to Gloucestershire, and they'll be in touch with me to make a statement, which I'll do.
This is not unusual at all. Not unusual at all.
Watch your toes.
Thank you.
The police said they would come and take a statement from me. I never heard from them.
Once more into the breach, dear friend.
My final and most painful meeting was in Cattistock, Dorset.
Graham Forsyth and Helen Weeks have been monitoring hunts for 12 years.
I've been told that I've made myself a target by writing to the papers about what I see with hunts. My husband got up early one Sunday morning. He looked out the kitchen window and saw something on the car. I walked up the lane and there was this beautiful fox lying on the roof of my car. Oh. Blood had poured out of its mouth across the roof of the car, along the edge. It had been channeled down, big pool of blood on the ground. There's blood behind the front wheel of the car. It was the fox that had been coming to my garden for months. They knew that was the way to hurt me the most.
It has now been 6 years since the intrusion in my village. I've travelled thousands of miles and found dozens of similar stories. People whose lives have been blighted, either by a single shocking incident or a recurring nightmare.
Graham and I were monitoring the East Devon hunt. The whipper-in, Christopher Miles, was riding by, and without warning, he just turned his horse into me. What's that?
I got a memory, you don't like one, do you?
Oh!
I have spoken to the hunters and their supporters. They simply deny all knowledge of or responsibility for these events.
The worst thing about it was that the children were exposed to this thing.
And it's just a wall of abuse you get.
Ridiculous, especially when I've got 2 young children as well.
I climbed out the ditch, he knocked me back in again.
We filmed hunts on just 5 occasions. Each time we witnessed or were subjected to abuse and violence, or were stalked.
The tension starts to rise.
All
right, I shall go. And you think, here we go.
Oh, I'll fucking fill you in.
What's going to happen today?
The reason I made the film is that it seemed impossible to get anything into the media or to find any interest in the media on this issue. And in fact, it took the death of a hunt supporter to create even a ripple of interest. In 2007, the hunt monitors took to the air. Their helicopter pilot, Brian Griffiths, was new to monitoring and had seen the other monitors' footage.
I was fully aware that hunt violence existed. I felt that the ideal place to be would be up in the air, out of the way of all that.
Complaints were made by the hunt to the Civil Aviation Authority, but were unsubstantiated.
Penny had told me at least twice that they are livid.
On the last day of the 2009 season, Brian and passenger John Curtin were monitoring the Warwickshire hunt. They landed at Longmarston Airfield to refuel. Hunt supporter Trevor Morse arrived and stood in front of the aircraft. He made calls on his mobile phone.
I said to him, "We're going now. Could you move out of the way, please?" And then all he said to me was, "You're going nowhere." At that point, I could virtually feel my heart coming out of my chest. I knew full well that this man was there solely to keep us on the ground, and I believed any second now, to my left, there were going to be vehicles coming down that road, and John and I were going to get, for want of a better description, a right kicking. Safe haven for me is back up in the air. So I shouted, "Clear prop." People did move out the way, but Trevor Morse didn't. He just stood at the front of the aircraft. So I figured, if I nudge forwards, like any reasonable person, he'll just move out the way.
Peter Bunce was filming. He was also heard warning Trevor Morse.
And I saw him go off to the left, and I thought, that's it. He'll just take a step, he'll be out of the way. I would just taxi down the runway, and then I'll be in a position to be able to take off. So the next thing that I heard was a thud behind my head, followed quickly by another thud.
Trevor Morse had been struck by the rear rotor blade. He died instantly.
Brian Griffiths went to court a year after Trevor Morse was killed.
The charge when we went to trial had been dropped from murder down to gross negligent manslaughter. And I knew that the only defence that we were going to trial with was what I'd said all along. I was fully aware that this man was there to summon others to the airfield and cause me harm.
Barrister James Wood used testimony and video footage from hunt monitors to build the defence case that Griffiths feared violence and damage to himself, his passenger and his aircraft.
It was the most fearful time I can remember in my entire life. My heart was pounding and I thought, I've got to get away from this man.
After a 2.5-week trial, the jury found Brian not guilty by a majority verdict.
I've always said all along, I'm deeply saddened by this. I certainly never wanted this to happen to Trevor Morse and Trevor Morse's family. But I've been asked, do I feel that I am responsible for it? And I sleep at night in the firm belief that this wasn't my fault.
The evidence disclosed that Brian Griffiths had been the victim of a carefully plotted conspiracy to obstruct his surveillance of activities of the hunt, and that Mr. Morse had been a party to this conspiracy.
He was doing what he was told on that day. So somebody somewhere has a large question to answer.
Prime Minister David Cameron has said that we have to respect people's right to take part in this pastime. That this minority should not be told what to do by the majority. For most people, this argument is about animal cruelty. It seemed to me that for most of the hunters I met, this is irrelevant.
80% of the UK public are engaged.
I could ask you about training the hounds on cub hunting. It's something I've learnt about recently from my documentary.
Autumn hunting, yes.
Cub hunting, as it used to be called.
Yes, autumn hunting as it's called these days.
Yes. Why did they change the name to autumn hunting?
Because people like you get so upset about cub hunting.
Such truths, though less palatable, are somehow easier to take.
On February 20th, 1987, in the TV programme Face the Public, Chris Ogilvie, huntsman of the Coniston foxhounds, was asked about his fox hunting activities.
I don't hunt foxes to control them, neither does any hunting person.
So what do you hunt them for?
We hunt them for sport.
For enjoyment?
Yes.
For pleasure?
Yes, for pleasure.
That is the only credible attempt at justification I have found for hunting with dogs. Today, popular opinion and the law says this is not acceptable. But,
as David Cameron has said, he will introduce legislation to repeal the hunting ban.
Fine, so you don't feel it should be debated?
No, it's been debated many times in the past.
Even though there's very strong public opinion?
Democracy depends on who has a majority at any given time in the House of Commons.
And on it goes. The Veterinary Association for Wildlife Management concludes, the motives and morality of those that go hunting is no business of others in a democratic society, and certainly not a matter for Parliament.
But surely, in a democratic society, it is a matter for Parliament. Laws are made to reflect society's morals, and we're all subject to those laws. In Roger Scruton's Biscuit Tin World, hunting is a manifestation of common ownership. Owning a territory in order to share it. Defending an imagined equilibrium in the countryside in order to maintain the ancient hierarchies of ownership and patronage. In my world, using live animals as dispensable pieces of sports equipment in order to maintain this anachronism is unacceptable, unnecessary, and without any justification.
A minority pastime, a dirty little secret known all over the world. One thing for sure, it's not made at a good time. You'll see 'em coming. All redcoats, high hopes, big bad ways to kill folks. Scared foxes running. What are we gonna do? when it comes to me and you. Well, it seems minorities can win only if you got powerful friends, only if your face can fit, and the law of England pays for it. It seems bad men can run amok if they want to kill a tiny fox. God, what's gonna become of us when justice is a game of love? What are we gonna do?
Ignorant, stupid old woman.
Take your flipping camera away.
One thing for sure, this pain divides the heart of us. So say your prayers. This army ain't for turning, there's no languishing, no time for tears. Wake up to politics. What are we gonna do? When it comes to me and you.
Oh my God.
What are we gonna do? When it comes to me and you.